What's going on? It's the RapNerd, and I'm here today to have some spoiler talk about Black Phone 2. I saw it yesterday, so it's fresh in my mind. I just wanted to express my love for this film because, man, I think it is so incredible. It's my second favorite movie of the year, right under Sinners, and honestly, it's fighting for the number one spot with Sinners, and that's how much I absolutely loved it. So I just want to talk a few things out, here and there about the movie, things that I loved, and just my breakdown of certain things. And this is spoilers, so if you have not seen the movie, go see Black Phone 2, come back here and join the discussion with me. So first of all, Nightmare on Elm Street, we gotta talk about that first because, again, that's the big elephant in the room. It's really obvious that this movie is inspired by Elm Street. Scott himself even said it, and I watched this interview he did with my last podcast, which gives a whole lot of insight on the movie, which I think you should definitely watch that and then rewatch the movie, and it's one of the reasons why I wanted to see it again. So he says that the inspiration for Elm Street is there, and what he wanted to do was give people, this new generation, the experience that he got when he saw Elm Street for the first time in theaters. He remembers seeing it as a teenager, and he said that it was terrifying, and it was something that we've never seen before. So him saying that, he's clearly paying homage to that movie, and he also put some things in there saying like it's also homage to a lot of late 70s horror movies and camp slashers that happened in the 80s, which is why he chose for it to be camp. And that's another thing that it scratches the itch of, is that it scratches the how-to of a Crystal Lake and Friday the 13th movie. I'm not saying that they should go down the same road, but he made a layup line for what you can do just to make it work, with this original character. I think that the inspiration is there, but it still does enough to differentiate itself from Elm Street because it takes its own liberties in a few areas when it comes to the dream sequences. I can't really remember Freddy ever being able to attack people outside of the dream that he's in. And that's what the grabber can do here. It's like when he's in a dream or a nightmare, he's powerful enough to also attack people outside of that dream. And what I love about that is it's all tied up into the lore of how he's able to do it. So the grabber is pretty much just a vengeful spirit. And as he mentioned in the film, is that he went to hell, and I believe that he was just so devious of a person that, as he said, it stripped all of the good things away, the human things, and left nothing but the bad and the rotten. And they sent his ass back up here to wreak havoc amongst Gwen and Finn. And unlike Freddy is just kind of going after a bunch of people. I think it makes it even more scary, the fact that the grabber is telling Finn that I'm after you and your sister, and I'm gonna ruin your life by taking her life. So it's almost in the sense of like clearing the static, get out the way, I'm gunning for your ass. And that just makes it that much more of a threat, in my honest opinion. And I like that they chose to go that route of the grabbers going specifically after them, and he makes it fucking clear. And another difference is the level of camp. I think, of course, the Elm Street movies are going for a more horror comedy, body horror type thing, and most of them are on the funnier side when it comes to the way Freddy moves, the way people get killed. All the stuff can be laughed at, but I think here the seriousness of it all is way higher. And when he shows up and is doing the things that he does, it is fun to watch because it's just like, wow, he is causing all types of carnage right now. But the levels of danger is different because there's no joking around here. There's no gags or none of that. The grabber is dead ass serious, and it changes the whole perspective of what he's doing. And to go back to the sadistic nature of everything, this movie is way more brutal than the first one. If I remember correctly, the first Black Phone, you never really see the grabber do anything to the victims. Of course, you have those visions of him snatching people up, but I can't recall actual violence against children the way that it shows in this movie. I mean, 8 minutes into the film, we get the first vision of Wild Bill stalking his first prey and just ruthlessly stabbing him over and over in the body. And which just brings a point to me about, I saw some reviews saying it was kind of boring and it took a minute to get into the horror, but I'm like, yo, 8 minutes in, this happens. I don't know how this isn't something that could spark your eye for horror. I don't know why that wouldn't be something of interest to see, because it wasn't in the first one. And as they show each kid's death, it just gets worse and worse. And I'm like, wow, he really is a piece of shit. And that actively makes me think about what he was doing in the first film, because they didn't show it. I'm like, what the hell did he do to these kids? I think the pacing is so good because you're getting enough story, but you're also getting scares, story, horror elements, story, scare. You don't get a big chunk of movie where nothing happens, and I really love that it keeps you on your toes the entire time and keeps you looking forward to these set pieces. I think it's perfectly done, when the movie starts and it's kind of building to the reveal of the grabber. Of course, Gwen starts getting these dreams and she's seeing things and wondering what's going on, and you get to see the grabber in the past, but it just keeps building towards the reveal of who he is now. And I love the first attack when she's in the cabin by herself and those dead kids show up, and then you have the grabber outside of the window, breaks the window, and then slices the kid's head in half. I was like, oh shit, we are in for a ride. And that score is just building. It's just bam, bam. That shit just gets crucial. Whoa. What a masterful way to kick things off, to let us know we are not playing. And this is minute 30 when this happens. I love that. And I gotta give kudos to Madeline, the character who plays, the actress that plays Gwen. She did a phenomenal job here of conveying the absolute terror, the absolute craziness of what she's going through. When that scene happens, and she screams once the kid's head gets cut in half, it gave me chills, because I was like, oh my God, she's actually like really feeling what's going on. So I gotta give her kudos. She sells the shit out of this movie. And that even goes, later on in the movie, when it's revealed that the grabber was the one that actually killed their mom. And I love what Scott did with the direction here, when they get out the van and you see her looking past the camera, and you just see her start to kind of hyperventilate, and she's just getting built up of just sadness and anger. And it just is like, as an audience member, you're looking like, what the fuck is she seeing to make her react like this? And then when it cuts back and it shows her mom hanging, I was like, whoa. The grabber took it up a different level here. I can't imagine that you hate your ops so much that not only did you kill this person's parent, but you used your dream power to recreate this moment to show this person just so you can fuck with him. That is insane. And then after that, he proceeds to tell you like, hey, what do you think happens if you die in this world? I don't know. Let's find out. And then proceeds to chase you with an axe. Dog, levels to this, bro. Like, just the way that sequence is built, and how he just goes on a rampage. I love that sequence, and it leads to her being in a phone booth, and he just pops up, wraps that phone cord around her head, and slams her. And then I love how it's going back and forth with showing what's going on in the real world, and it's just, oh my God, this is so damn good. And just the fact that they used the phone booth as a prop for the grabber to go on attack with, I think it's just a brilliant choice that is so under the radar. But the fact that it's the black phone and it's being used, love that. And speaking of the attack, the first real reveal of the grabber when he's in the kitchen with Gwen, what a fucking scene. That is like the Tina scene in Elm Street. This version, just showing her getting slammed around, thrown around, spun around. And I love that everybody who was, present at this camp saw it, because now there's no thing of like trying to convince anybody. Y'all saw it for yourselves, so I'm not bullshitting. And when you put characters in a position like that, you really can just go wild with what you can do from a supernatural standpoint. Everybody knows it's real. And all of this works just because Scott is an excellent director and writer. There are just so many beautiful frames in here that just have me gushing. For instance, when they first leave their home city and they're driving to the camp in the snow, it's just oozing swagger. You see the car moving in slow motion as the snow falls. They're inside. You see Finn light up a joint, and you see the silhouette of the car with the headlights, and you have that Pink Floyd playing, and everything is in slow motion. They're inside the car, and you see the shot spinning around. as it's dark and the snow is just falling. Then you get to the sequence where Finn gets out the car and he's running in front of the car, and you see these lights, blaring at you, and you see Finn's silhouette running in slow motion with the music playing. Oh, gorgeous shots and gorgeous framing, yo. I mean, the movie is so beautiful that it almost looks like it's green screen. That's how beautiful out there in the Colorado mountains are. I mean, you get a win from that alone. And speaking of cinematography, I really love the way certain sequences are shot. Like when Finn is in the phone booth, it seems like every take that he's in there with, it's a one take and the camera is just moving around him as, the kids appear. When the grabber's there, they play with the duality of the shot, having the phone booth here and you might have the grabber and then Finn on the other side of it. I love how they play with that, and yet again, it's still moving and keeping it in one frame. I love the tracking shots being one take, even in the nightmares where the grabber is chasing his victims. It's just small things like that create the big picture of why a film is so beautiful. I think the movie ending on a good note with them being able to defeat the grabber and find the victims is what makes the movie just a chef's kiss, because it's a feel-good film at the end of the day. It's about a brother and sister bonding, trying to get through the trauma that they both went through, especially Finn. There's a sequence right before the third act kicks off where you have Finn, Gwen, and her dad just speaking in like this triangle shape that's super dope, from a blocking standpoint of what they're going through, and Gwen is just kind of going in on both of them. Like, you see your son smoking weed and you don't say anything about it. You just let him do it because you're too afraid to confront him. And then you, brother, you think you can escape these problems like it didn't happen, and you see Finn really trying to hold back everything, and then he just bursts saying like, you think I don't know? It happened to me. Y'all have no idea what it's like. I'm tired of just being angry. I'm tired of being scared. And he breaks down and cries. Man, it hit me in the feels, yo. Because, I mean, that can be taken many different ways. People who go through trauma, or just people dealing with everything. And just, especially from a man's standpoint, men tend to just try to block everything out like shit don't bother us, but we getting ate up inside. So, just seeing him go through that was excellent. And man, I gotta say, shout out to my dude P. He would be an excellent Robin. Just putting it out there. He would be a very good Robin. Oh, and that reminded me, another little notes of homage here that I really enjoyed is when Gwen was able to channel her powers at first and blow the grabber back, and she was just covered in that blood. Carrie vibes. So all in all, man, I absolutely adored this movie. I'm going to watch it again when it gets like cold, but this is definitely a cozy movie. It checked all the right boxes for me. It's dangerous, it's sadistic, it's intense, it's brutal, it's scary, it's hopeful, it's layered with emotion, and it's a fun ride. It gives me everything that I want in a horror movie. This is like a perfect horror experience for me. And I'm just happy that they decided to make another one, because when they first announced this, I was like, why the hell would you need a Black Phone 2? I wasn't that hot on the first one, so I don't know what you're gonna do with this one, but thank the cinema gods that they did this, because this joint is fire. So let me know in the comments, what was your favorite part? I have 4 favorites. Mine is when we first are introduced to Wild Bill in the cabin. Second one is we're introduced to the grabber in the kitchen. The third one is when the grabber decides to show Gwen the fate of her mom, and then the phone booth part happens. And then I love the third act when the grabber skates up and he's just, going crazy. Like when he was skating and he grabbed one of the owners and was just sliding them across the ice, and you see that blood trail go. Fire. Flipped over Finn, tried to choking him, by his scarf. Just amazing, yo. Like, this is just pure horror cinema at its greatest feat, man. And of course, you can say what you didn't like. I really don't have that many gripes. I can't even think of one right now. I've been trying to think of one that really bothers me, but don't have one, man. They're a masterpiece for me. So if you like this kind of content, make sure to like and subscribe. And if you already are subscribed, thank you. And until next time, peace.
RapNerd Productions, no capping, that's word to mommy. Instead of banking on it, now rapping is just a hobby.